cross just with the 800 meters bridge to go to the Angrignon to see the movie or to the shopping center, instead of going around for 6-7 kilometers, float in the air and wasting the time. Another question that I have, it's regarding the Saint-Jacques, which is almost the same repeating question that I have because I cannot digest this. Saint-Jacques, it's a commercial industrial zone in the area, and it's polluting Saint-Jacques escarpment. It has no value to nobody's life. Public consulting has been done in 2012. It recommends to improve the quality of the life of the people and change the zoning to the residential and light commercial. And you said that you had postponed this for the later date. What is such an important thing that we have? To change this zoning, at least to protect the area of the Saint-Jacques. I pass in the area on the march. These are the garbage from the old tires, from the old dishwashing machine, and you name it. People from the community, they go and clean as much as they can. I contacted your chief of staff by the email, and he had responded to me. He goes and he regularly checks it. Before I come this afternoon, I went and I take the picture from the same place. I didn't have to go to print it. If you want, I could print it and email it to you. The same garbage, it's remained there. And it's not very hard to understand for your engineer and all that. When you drop oil or any chemical on the top of the hill, it will go downhill. It will not go upward. And this is the problem that is in Saint-Jacques. When the city is going to take the real proper measure on this?
Okay. So, pardon me. Mr. Porshaffiey, just a correction. The Dalle-parc doesn't connect, never intended to connect the top of the Falaise with Angrignon. We think we need to understand. Mr. Porshaffiey, you had your time. Sure. I would appreciate having mine. The Dalle-parc was intending to link Pullman at the base of the Falaise with the Chine Canal. The City of Montreal very clearly supports the Dalle-parc. The Mayor of Montreal supports the Dalle-parc. He's raised the issue with the Transport Minister. I've regularly raised the issue with our MNA, Kathleen Weil, the MNA for Saint-Henri, Sainte-Anne, Dominique Anglade. So our efforts are continual to try and convince the government of Quebec to reinstitute the Dalle-parc. So everyone is working in the same direction on this. With regard to, you mentioned two things about Saint-Jacques. I appreciate you can't digest the answer, but it's the same answer, Mr. Porshaffiey. The consultation done by the OCPM in 2012 was what we call an upstream consultation, and consultation en amont, on an eventual PPU for the St. Raymond's district. It was very clearly thought that with everything that was happening with the Turcotte interchange, with the demolition and reconstruction of the Saint-Jacques overpass, with the arrival of the Glen site of the MUHC, that we needed to rethink our approach to the PPU. Our services have relaunched a PPU, a Programme Particulier d'Urbanisme. You know, in the Sud-West, worked on a PPU for 4 years. 4 years, Mr. Porshaffiey. Sud-West Borough. I don't know if that means anything to people in this room. 4 years. So our services are working on a PPU plan. There will be another mandatory consultation by the OCPM if the PPU is adopted as a projet by this council. And so that's the orientation that we've taken. It's the same answer that I've given you in private. It's the same answer I've given you in public 3 or 4 times. I appreciate you can't digest it, but sometimes answers that I give seem to be undigestible, and we just all have to live with that, and I accept responsibility for that. Just quickly, Mr. Plante, with regard to the sort of policing of the Upper Falaise, which is in our area, I know that we sent out warnings to every business on the Falaise, warning them that they had to take all measures to prevent dumping. A correction, it's not my chief of staff who goes regularly to verify, we send inspectors. So Mr. Plante, would you just very quickly talk about our efforts to reduce dumping from the Upper Falaise?
Yeah, 2 things. Actually, we sent some inspectors during winter time because we had a problem with owners pushing snow on the Falaise. So that was one thing that we did. We also, at fall time, in I would say a couple of weeks ago, went back to talk to them about not throwing garbage on the Falaise. So if you have pictures or anything like that, you can send it to my attention. And but we're there very often. But we have to change mentality that has been like that for years and years. But the inspectors are there, I can assure you.
Do you have a second
Yes,
comment?
I'd like to speak.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. McQueen, sure.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to protest against your disingenuous comments, Mr. Copeman. If the Dalle-parc, the concept of the Dalle-parc, as voted in City Council, our motion put forward by Projet Montréal, and also as espoused by all the groups behind the Dalle-parc, so this is not just Peter McQueen or Projet Montréal speaking, this is the Conseil Régional de l'Environnement, these are cyclist groups from all over the city, is that it is a link from Saint-Jacques Street to the canal. And if you don't think that's true, I find that disturbing. And I'm wondering what exactly you think the Dalle-parc is. Just a bridge from nowhere to nowhere? I mean, it's going to go over the highway from Pullman just to then be up against the old highway? I mean, an honest question. What did you think the Dalle-parc
I
was?
think
If it wasn't going from Saint-Jacques to the canal?
Well, the Dalle-parc, as we know, as it was supposed to be funded by the government of Quebec, did not include from the upper Falaise down. Mr. McQueen, I'm surprised you don't know that.
Okay, well, I think...
But I've said before that I'm prepared, as the executive committee member responsible for urban planning, and as the mayor of Côte-Neige NDG, to look at how people get from the top of the Falaise to the bottom. But to suggest that that's integrally part of the Dalle-parc project, I'm surprised that you don't understand that. Mr. Porshaffiey, go ahead.
Can I make a comment?
Go ahead, and then we move on. So this is your second intervention, Mr. Porshaffiey. Go ahead.
Thank you for it. I'd like to make a recommendation. I believe that City of Montreal has a design, and